Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here today on The Father Show. And I'm your host, Mike Thompson. And today we got a great show for you, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about holistic medicine here, and we have a special person coming on the show to tell us a little bit more about it. But if you haven't already subscribed to the show, please do, and make sure you tell somebody else. But subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that way you're always notified when we have a show. And that's generally every Saturday, so you don't want to miss it. And you can also catch any of the shows on different apps like iHeart, iTunes, and Spotify, Pandora, and other apps out there. You can catch us on our website, which is the Father Show with MikeThompson.com. You can also catch our Facebook page, and you can catch the shows there and on LinkedIn and, like I said, other apps. So you have no excuse. You can always find us somewhere, and we want to make sure you are able to watch us and catch us. So today, how we can do a better job as men in our health and taking care of our health, and that's so important. I just got news the other day that they found a friend of mine dead in bed, died in his sleep, and he wasn't that old. And so we've got to do a better job. And I know as men, we don't like to go to the doctor. We don't want to say we have any pains, but we have to do better and going to the doctor, because we got a legacy that we're leaving behind, and too soon are we leaving it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want you to welcome Teresa Hamilton to the show. Teresa, how are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Did I say that correctly?
It's Tressica.
Tressica, dadgummit. All right, we're going to work on it. So, Teresa, thank you for joining us on the show today. We really appreciate it. I want you to tell the audience a little bit more about you and the SID Center.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tressica Hamilton. I am the founder and CEO of the SID Center. And the SID Center is a behavioral health company specializing in holistic mental health and wellness for Black men. And we offer the Black Men Healing Circle, which provides a safe space for healing, inspiration, and self-care for Black men. And we offer our monthly group sessions as well as holistic wellness programs and topics each month. And we also offer intensive behavior intervention programs for Black boys that are designed to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline for Black boys.
So let me start with something. Now, you said intense behavior for young Black men and keep them out of, the system.
Yes.
What do you do? Because I think that's very important. We're going to get to the wellness, but this is also important as well.
Well, we offer a program. It's called Hope 180, and we do school-based behavioral health as well as virtual sessions, since we're doing a lot of virtual work now due to COVID. But this is designed for boys who are referred to us they're at risk of being expelled from school or suspended due to their disruptive behavior in the classroom. And what we do, we have a program that's evidence-based, that's designed to manage their behavior and also transform their behavior in their lives and improve their academic performance. And our goal for that program, because we have kids as young as 8 years old that are at risk of going into the school-to-prison pipeline.
Yeah.
So our goal for that program is to help them transform their behavior. And then the ultimate goal is for them to graduate from high school and go on to have a career, whether they go to college or trade school or entrepreneurship. But our goal is for them to grow up into purpose-driven Black men, giving back to their communities.
And this is done through the SID Center, right?
Yes, it's done through the SID Center.
Okay. And you told me before the show, the SID Center is international program that you have.
Yes, the Black Men Healing Circle is international. It's virtual, so we have men from different countries and states that participate each month. Mm-hmm. But with the Hope 180, with the virtual portion of it, we're expanding that to different states as well for the virtual portion only. But the
Okay.
school-based services are in the Metro Atlanta area.
Yeah, that's excellent. How did you get into that?
Well, I was inspired to start the Sid Center because of my brother Sid. It's his name after my brother Sid
Yeah.
Hamilton. He was my inspiration. He passed away, and I named the Sid Center to honor his memory. And he always had, he had troubles growing up with school, and I always, work with him. And so this is a way to carry on his memory and honor his memory, as well as establishing a legacy to help Black men transform their lives.
That's excellent. That's very good. Man, that's very good. So now we're going to be talking about holistic wellness today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is holistic wellness?
Holistic wellness that focuses on not just your mental health, your mental well-being, but also your physical well-being and your spiritual well-being and financial well-being. Because with Black men, one of the things that are important to them are the financial part
Mm-hmm.
of their lives. And for anybody, really, your finances that affects your mental health. Because
Yeah.
people who, if you struggle with your finances, that affects you physically and mentally. So the financial portion is key as well as far as achieving optimal overall well-being.
Okay.
So this is the whole entire being.
So the whole body, the whole spirit, your
Yes,
mind, all of that.
yes,
Now, does that include like meditation?
yes. It does meditation
Okay.
and mindfulness because it helps to control stress. I know a lot of Black men that I work with, they have a lot of racial trauma and they're dealing with stress. Just
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the racial trauma. So the meditation and mindfulness that helps them to manage their stress better. And we'll also be introducing yoga towards the end of the year as well and other programs to
Now,
help them manage their stress better.
do you find it hard to get Black men into yoga?
No, not when they realize the benefits of it. Some of them, they may be kind of hesitant, but once they realize the benefits and that it can help them manage their stress and find more inner peace,
Mm-hmm.
they're more receptive to it.
So, what is the benefit of yoga?
But the benefits of yoga, it helps you achieve inner peace. It also helps you become more mindful of what's going on within you, and it helps you transform from within, so that it helps you achieve inner healing because you have to do a lot of introspective work with yoga. And I think that's effective with Black men because they're so stressed out about what's going on around them and outside of them. And
Mm-hmm.
yoga helps bring them back in within them to help them manage from the inside out.
Okay. So, it's not just stretching and balance and things of that nature. It's a little bit more into it.
Yes, this is the mind body connection with yoga, or mind, body, and spirit. Because you
Okay.
don't have to be very flexible to do yoga either. A lot
Oh,
of
you
people
don't?
think you have to
Okay.
be very flexible,
Yeah, but that
but
was
you
one of the
don't.
things I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, literally for everybody,
So,
any body type.
when you start your yoga, you will start stretching, I guess, as far as you can, but you don't
Yes,
have to necessarily reach the floor in a sense, the touching your
exactly.
toes or things of that nature.
Yeah, you don't have to stand on your head or anything.
Yeah.
You do the best you can.
Okay. Now, is that something that they can do it virtually, or is that something that they come into a center to do?
It's done virtually. We're doing
Okay.
a lot of virtual sessions now. So yes, it is done virtually.
I'm gonna make sure my wife don't hear this. I need to get into yoga, and I've even thought
Yeah.
about it, but it's like I was one of those men too that thought, you got to be able to stretch, you got to be able to balance, and I know as we get older, our balance is not as good as it is when you're
True.
younger,
Yeah.
but that does help with that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
It helps you become more limber.
okay,
So it's beneficial as you get older.
all right. Now, what do y'all do for the mind? How does wellness help the man's mind?
Well, wellness, as far as mindfulness, that helps you to become more focused on what's on your thoughts because your thoughts affect your moods and how your behavior as well. So being
Hmm.
more mindful of your thoughts and what's going on within you can help you manage your stress and lower your stress. It can also help people lower their blood pressure in some cases. But just being more mindful of what's going on within you helps you achieve inner peace. And that's important too. I mean, a lot of men that I work with, they have a lot of, not just within themselves, but just dealing with people around them and what's going on in society. So
Hmm.
that they need that safe space within themselves and just time alone. And it's good to have some alone time, for black men so that they can just have that piece that they need.
And wouldn't you say everybody, men and women, need their own time to themselves to
Yeah.
relax and get the stress off of them?
Yes. Everybody needs to have some time alone, even if it's just 5 minutes. I mean, some parents may be so busy they have to have a long time in the bathroom. But
Hmm.
just having that alone time where, just you and listening to your thoughts and being able to have time to think
Now,
and
is
really
this
just,
something that a parent and the SID Center, for instance, can teach their kids? And if so, what would be a good age to start?
well, you can start as young as one. I've had clients that young, just having them just to sit still, even just for 5 minutes. 'Cause
Hmm.
I work with a lot of kids who have disruptive behavior, and people think it's hard to get them to sit still, but they can do it. It's possible. So even teaching children at a young age to just sit still and take time to close their eyes and just to, relax
Yeah.
and focus. It's possible.
Okay. Because I've got a very rambunctious grandson and I love him to death. But he is rambunctious and he's a lot of fun.
That's
But
good.
I'm glad I'm not the parent because I couldn't keep up with him. That's, so it doesn't matter really how old they are. You can
No.
start teaching them how to be more mindful and to connect with their own body.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's good to start them off young too, to have them develop a routine.
Now, wellness healing, I know you know what you're saying, but is this, something that or does a center, excuse me, also maybe prescribe any kind of medication, or is that something that the wellness will do?
I know we don't prescribe medication. That would be something a medical doctor or a psychiatrist would do.
Hmm.
And even with our boys who have ADHD or disruptive behavior, medication is the last resort. So
Thank
we
you.
encourage parents to try other options and make medication for ADHD the very last resort.
Okay. And let me ask you a personal question now.
Okay.
ADHD, do you think it's over prescribed or over said and people have ADHD and I don't know if you know the answer, but why, if that's the case, why is there so many ADHD kids today?
Well, it is over diagnosed in black boys, and it's a way to, especially with the medication, it's a way to manage their behavior in the classroom. But it has a lot of adverse effects for
Hmm.
them as they get older because a lot of parents don't realize once you put them on the medication, you just can't take them off cold turkey. They have
Yeah.
to be weaned off the medication, and also that medication is serious, and so a lot of parents don't realize the how serious it is to put a child on medication because it's
Yeah.
so that's why we advocate for it to be the last resort. But a lot of parents make the mistake of just taking a child, stopping it, because a child sometimes the behavior becomes worse or unmanageable, and they take them off the medication, and it causes more long-term problems.
Okay. So wellness, would you say, even when you're trying to do wellness and trying to do holistic type healing, you still should be consulting with your doctor, wouldn't you?
Yes, it's best to have a whole team, just a whole. If you have, your medical doctor, because a lot of times with mental illness, still need to have a physical to rule
Hmm.
out any, physical issues, actual physical illnesses in conjunction with that. So it's best to have a whole wellness team, your doctor, your therapist, and any other wellness team practitioners that you need, and have them all working together to
Okay.
achieve your ultimate well-being.
And with a patient permission, do you all get together and talk and decide what each is going to do or what's best for the patient or that
Yes, the
person?
patient they need to they would have to sign a release of information for all of their providers, but it is best to do that because it's important for them to know how everything works together and how the medication will affect them, and how if they try a certain prescription, how that will affect them,
Yeah.
especially in school. So it's best to have everybody working together
Yeah,
and keep
because
the patient in the loop.
we all know one medication may affect one person one way and affect somebody
Yeah,
else the other.
exactly.
Okay.
Everybody needs to know what's going on. Even if you're taking like vitamins, they need to know. If you think it's natural, it may still have an effect if you take a medication along with it.
Hmm.
So everything needs to and everybody needs to be informed about what's going on with the patient.
So, since men tend to not to go to a doctor because we don't particularly care for it, what would you say that would help men to get in to have that team of people to help them live their best life?
Yes, I would say for black men, especially, at least have your annual physical and know what your markers are based on your age range. Because as you get older, you have to have certain other screenings. So
Hmm.
speak to your primary care. At least have a primary care doctor and speak to them as you get older and ask them what your screening should be based on your age, and at least do that every year because you don't want to have a surprise. Because a lot of men don't want to go to the doctor; they want to work. But if you get sick, you won't be able to work,
True.
and that makes it detrimental. So at
Yeah.
least have an annual physical and a conversation with your primary care doctor about the necessary screenings that you need to have, and at least do that at a minimum each year.
What do you find it is the masculinity in men that keep us from going to the doctor or fear?
I think, well, especially with black men, because of just our historical issues that we've had with the medical profession, a lot of them they're hesitant because of that. A lot of black people don't trust the medical establishment
Hmm.
because of our history, and with some men, it is the masculinity where they are focused on being a provider and not going to the doctor, or they don't want to have to face feeling having a weakness if they're
Yeah.
diagnosed with something. So they have that denial about having to deal with something that will make them feel weak. So that factors into it as well. But it's best to get that taken care of before it gets worse. Because a lot of men deal with having to even growing older and feeling like they're losing their independence, and that affects their
Hmm.
masculinity.
Hmm. Yeah, because I know I've already told my wife I don't want her to have to take care of me. And she's a nurse, but I still don't want her to take care of me. I said, just let me go. I'm cool. I've had many years on this earth, and when it's time for me to go, let me go.
Okay. And she probably doesn't agree with you, but but I understand that a lot of men don't want they want their independence.
But as a man, I know we have a hard time taking off, like you mentioned. We're sometimes the breadwinner. We're the one bringing home the money, but just to be honest, in today's society, women are making more money than the men, especially in the black community. So that's not an excuse.
That's true. It's like this, but it still doesn't change the role dynamic in some households. Even if the woman is making more, the
Hmm.
man is still considered the head of the household.
Hmm.
So it really doesn't change that role. It's not a role reversal for
Yeah.
most black couples.
And I know it is, and I've had some women that would say, well, I'm the one bringing home all the bacon, so you gotta, they try to reverse the roles, and instead of staying with it and really still being let the man be the man of the household, regardless of, because I look at it as a marriage, a husband and wife is a team. It's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
about who's bringing in what. and who's doing what necessarily. Because, I was listening to an old Teddy Pendergrass song the other day, and I'm doing 60-40, and some days you're doing 60-40, and so it switches and it goes
Yeah.
back and forth. But if you're a team working together to get to a certain part, to your dream or whatever goals you may have for your family, that should be it.
That's true. It has to be a team effort.
Yeah.
It's not about who makes more than who. It should be a team working together for the common goal and
Yeah.
building that legacy together.
Yeah, but now if you're a man sitting on the couch with your hands down your pants and just playing video games all day, yeah, that's a problem. You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because I've heard some rapper. It was a rapper just the other day that said, "But I'm not a role model." And I'm like, "Fool, yes you are.
Yeah.
Every man on the earth is a role model.
True.
Period." And and
Yes.
and really, I'm not just saying men. I know this is the father show, but even women, you are a role model because you're
Yeah.
still showing a girl what a woman and how a woman should act, and
Yeah.
you're also showing a boy how a woman should act
And be
and what a
treated.
woman is. Yeah, and not
Yes.
and be treated. So we're all role models, and not just to our own kids, but we're a role model to everybody that looks at us and sees us. And that's
Yeah.
more people than we really care to think about.
That's true. And the kids are always watching, modeling
Always
the
watching.
behavior of, yeah, and they model the behaviors that they see.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I had a parent the other day that was they were saying, "Oh, she's bad," and it was a little girl. She was about 6, 7 years old. "Oh, she's bad. Oh, she's bad." I said, "No, no, 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 no. Stop saying that because you're putting that in her head, and she gonna say, well, hey, I'm bad, so I'm just gonna be bad."
And
That's
live
what
up
they
to it.
that's what they label me as,
Yeah.
and that was I think it was a mother and a grandmother.
Oh,
And yeah, and I was like, no, y'all need to stop saying that. And the girl was standing right there. So
wow.
yeah, but let's get back to this wellness. I mean, we're diverse a little bit. So the Black Man Healing is an international program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, the Black Man Healing Circle is designed to give the Black men the safe space that they need to receive healing, inspiration, and self care. And so they gather virtually every month in a group session. They discuss current issues that affect them. I usually have a monthly topic. Like last month, we talked about freedom. What does freedom mean as a Black man?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them feel that they're not free as Black men, and so
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how to achieve, the freedom that you feel is possible as Black men. And they discuss that they have that safe space where they can discuss what's really going on with them and how they feel.
Okay.
And it's like they really need that space just to breathe. It's like a lot of them had never had the opportunity to really voice what's in their heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have that chance to share amongst each other and the network and to support each other. And it's something that's been really popular with Black men, and it's growing because it's
Okay.
very much needed.
Now, is this done virtual and in the center, or how's it?
No, this is just done virtually, and I've also added more benefits based on the men's feedback. So they'll start receiving a monthly magazine that highlights Black men and issues affecting Black men,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll also receive, and we'll still have a live virtual session, and that's
Mm-hmm.
held virtually once a month, the second Tuesday of every month, and they'll receive a magazine and other resources to help them receive the support and access that they need to transform their lives and improve
Now,
their well-being.
one of the things that I know, especially with men, is we sometimes, when we're going through things and when we're being stressed, we feel like we're the only person that is going through it. So, does you find this helps men to understand and see and hear that they're not the only person on earth going through it?
Yes, that's part of the relief that they feel when they see that there are other men that have the same trials and tribulations they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And even like last month, they went 2.5 hours. So I allowed them to have that space, just to talk and, and vent and share what they needed to share to get
Mm-hmm.
out. So it's like like it's like some of them just needed that space. And, and they felt relieved to see other men were dealing with what they dealt with or had
Yeah.
dealt with and could help them, guide
Yeah.
them through it.
Yeah. Because I know that's a big thing with men. And I've been through it, so I know we feel like we're on an island all by ourselves
Yeah.
and nobody understands. Nobody. And really, part of the masculinity problem, I think, is the fact that we don't think we can go out and talk to anybody about it because they're going to make us feel less masculine if we do.
Yes. And that's one of the issues, even because a future topic we'll talk about is suicide in Black men.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that we need to start having more of those hard discussions that are
Mm-hmm.
affecting Black men that we don't talk about. Like suicide, a lot of Black men are depressed, and it looks different with Black men. Depression looks different with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand what they're going through, but they're not the only ones going through it. And even the suicide, they're afraid to talk about that. So we need to have more of those hard discussions so they'll know that they're not alone, and also know how to deal with that and get through
Yeah.
those dark periods.
Yeah. And we've had shows about depression because I had a
Yeah.
good friend of mine that was depressed, and I didn't even know it, but until he told me that he was battling depression. But until that point, I had no idea.
Yes, and they can look different in Black men because because of the masculinity, and they need to have that mask made so people will think they're okay.
Hmm.
It's important to acknowledge it.
Now, I know and you mentioned that this is for Black men.
Yeah.
Is any other ethnic group uh, able to join or come in and get and speak or work with you or take the program?
No, for the Black Men Healing Circle, it's just for Black men only because that's
Okay.
something that's important for them to have that safe space, which is
Hmm.
why they're so open and able to really share what's on their heart and soul and receive the healing that they need.
Hmm.
So yes, that particular program is only for Black men.
Okay. All right. No, it's good to have a place of your own where you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure I asked that question because, we have all ethnic groups watching the show,
Yeah.
and, and I want them to, I guess know ahead of time. Is there
Yeah.
a screening process that you do?
No, not for that because it's basically psychoeducational. It's a wellness membership.
Okay.
So the only requirement is just for Black men, and of ages we have men is intergenerational as well. So we have men that are in college, and we also have men who are in their 70s that
Okay.
participate, and they
Okay.
learn from each other.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so you've got a book out as well, and I want you to tell the audience a little bit about that as well.
Okay, I created it's a free book actually. It's called the Black Men Healing Handbook, and it just talks about how Black men can achieve wellness holistically, as far as the mental health and the physical health and the spiritual health and financial health. And so that's free on the Sid Center website at the sidcenter.com.
Hmm.
And again, it's called the Black Men Healing Handbook.
Okay.
Include
And you said that's on your website.
Yes.
Okay. And we'll have that information up on this video as well, so they'll be able to find your website. But it is the sidcenter.com,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's easy. So it's the wellness and your spirituality of it. How does that play into this?
The spiritual part is very important because I think it's not religion, but I think it's important. A lot of Black men, they're just with the media and what they've been programmed. A lot of Black people don't realize that there's been a program that has taken place to make them reduce their power or not, minimize their power. Even with the young boys I work with, they're geniuses, but as time goes on, they're made to feel stupid, or that they can't
Mm-hmm.
accomplish certain things in school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing I found with black men. They feel like they're not appreciated or valued in society, and that's not true. And so that spiritual part helps them to tap into their own personal power and knowing that that you're valuable. Because for me, I believe the mind and spirit are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, what gets into your mind gets into your spirit. When you see stuff in the media that's saying that you're not valuable, or we see a lot of media images of black men being murdered, like their lives don't matter, that affects men spiritually, and it makes them feel, like they're not worthy, and it also affects their behavior. Because if you don't feel like you're worthy, then that's why you have a lot of black men killing other black men or committing
Mm-hmm.
certain crimes.
Yeah.
So that
The
the spiritual
value.
aspect, yeah,
Yeah, they value
that's
themselves less. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Now, when you mentioned about the media and how they are covering black men, and with the Black Lives Matter issue, protests and all that was going on, would you say, at a wellness point of view, that the more you listen to that, the more it damaged you, or made you feel less, or got you upset and stressed out, and you end up focusing on those type of things that are not really benefiting you, because it's not improving your life, it's actually making it worse?
That's true. Because that's what they're focusing on. Even and then just having those type of fears, it just affects them
Yeah.
spiritual. Where a lot of black men with the police, even if they're not even doing anything, they see the police, they have a certain type of, it's like a fear that only affects black men,
Mm-hmm.
because they have that innate fear when they see the police, or see other women who may feel afraid of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a
Yeah.
bias against black men because of what they see, and so that affects black men, just that, and eternally, and that affects you physically when you have those fears that keep festering.
Yeah. But wouldn't you say that's something, that fear is something that we've been taught also by our own parents, to
Yes.
fear the police?
Yes, it's like a protective factor that
Yeah.
parents, because their parents are afraid, for their child to go out and be killed by the police when they're innocent. So that's something that is a protective factor, but it's also harmful because that fear eats away at you on, from the inside out.
Yeah, because that's a necessary conversation you need to have with your
Yeah,
child.
exactly. And so
And
a lot of black boys are afraid. They have that fear just going to school that they may, be harmed by the police.
yeah,
And it's something that's unnatural, but it's something that's necessary, as for black males. But it's also unfair because that affects them spiritually and physically
yeah,
over time.
yeah. And because I'm one person that I don't listen to the news, because it
Yeah.
depresses me and ticks me off. And, I have all those emotions that you have. And so I just pretty much stay away from it. And I've had men to tell me that they were even more fearful than they were before,
Yes.
because of the Black Lives Matter protests and the things that were going on, and the killings that were going on. Because once the media got a hold of it, they projected it more and more and more and more. So you
Yeah.
was fed it almost every day. You would hear about a black man or a brown man getting killed by the police. And this gentleman, friend of mine, who was almost 70, was really came very fearful, uh, and not in a good way. I mean, it wasn't like he'll see the police say, "Oh, no," he was seeing the police and he get ticked off, but because of that fear that it was projected on him.
Yes, and that's unhealthy. And a lot of black, even like I say, even the black boys, young black boys, they have that type of fear, and it just eats away at you.
Yeah. Well, we know that, the wellness, we have got to do a better job in taking care of
Yeah.
ourselves, our mind, body, spirit, and all
Yeah.
that, becoming whole and
Yes.
knowing what we do. So I really applaud you for doing what you're doing,
Thank you.
but I want you to tell the audience how they can get a hold of you and how they can get a hold of the SID Center, and really take advantage of all the things that you offer for young and old.
Okay, well, you can reach the SIT Center at thesitcenter.com. Our phone number is 770-750-4234. And you can also go to the website to request your free copy of the Black Men Healing Handbook. And we also have other resources in our blog. And we also have the Black Men Healing podcast that recently launched as well. And you can listen to episodes by signing up for that as well through the website.
Okay. All right. That's very good. And I really want to, really thank you for being on the show today,
Thank you for
because I know it's important, and I know it's something that us as men, especially Black men, and not especially because I think all men, we all have our issues and things we're dealing with. But in this particular case, we're talking about Black men and the struggles that we have and have gone through, and things that we deal with on a daily basis, like you mentioned earlier, the racism. And as you know, I'm here in New Orleans, and I see it all over the place, and it really, really irritates me, because I can see just how Black men are kept down in this community, and it really bothers me. And so I really glad that you're doing what you're doing, and I want to thank you very much for doing what you're doing, and you just keep on doing, and hopefully we can get more men involved and coming out to the SID Center and getting healed, and that wellness healing. So
Thank you for your support.
yeah. So we want to thank you very much. But that's going to be our show for today. And, like I said, I want you to really thank you for being on the show. And I'd love to come back and have you to come back and talk about, we talk about suicide, and that's a subject I'm really working on too, to help men, all men, because, you have it, and people are wondering why. What made that person commit suicide? What were they going through? And I actually had one of my very good friends to commit suicide, and you never ever would have thought that this person would have done that. I mean, it shook the whole community, because he was very well known in the community, and it shook the whole community. And so, yeah, it's something close to my heart, because he had called me like a week before and said, "Hey, Mike, let's go to breakfast," but I was tied up and I couldn't go. And I really hate that. My wife even says, he might have opened up that day. I don't know. But
you never know.
Yeah, you never know. But okay, well, we're going to close it out, and we're going to bring that back up on another day.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the Father Show. And really, if you would like to get better and do the best you can for yourself, I think you need to look at the SID Center and look at other ways to get holistically healed, so that way you're taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit, because it's all important. But if you're looking for resources and you need something that's going to encourage you, get you over the hump, make you feel better, please go to the Father Show with Mike Thompson.com and click on resources. And there you will find people like the SID Center. You have therapists, you have counselors, you have attorneys. We have a host of resources, and we're adding to it all the time. So go there. And if you can't find what you're looking for and you need help, please email the Father Show at gmail.com and let us know what you need, and we'll go out there and look for it and see if we can find them. And as we mentioned before, if you haven't subscribed to the show, please do, and click that notification bell, so that way anytime we have a show, you'll know about it and you can get it and be ready for it. Well, that's our show for today. I take it my theme song has started playing. God bless you all, and we'll see you next week.